Is there a moment in your life, right? Let me go backwards, right? So, did you know? Fuck. Okay, hang on. One more time. One more time. Now, did you know Danny Glover, who starred in Lethal Weapon film? I love Lethal Weapon. I can watch all the Lethal Weapon films. I love them all. There's not a bad one, although the second one's my favorite, I think. They're all my favorite. But did you know Danny Glover, when he made the first Lethal Weapon movie, was 40? I'm older than Danny Glover was. I'm 45. I'm older than Danny Glover was when he made Lethal Weapon, when he was getting that character, where he was getting close to retirement, saying, I'm too old for this shit. And I want to ask you a question. When was that moment in your life where you had that moment of saying, I'm getting too old for this shit? I think I was about 38. And I know that's relatively young now, looking back. But when I was 38, I had that moment. Me and my buddies decided to go to a pub, right, on the weekend because we had time off together and we thought, okay, this is a brilliant opportunity to go out and socialize and enjoy each other's companies. So we went to this pub, and on the weekends they have like this dance night and disco night or whatever. I don't know what they call it, nightclub thing. I was reluctant to go because I'm very much an introvert. I like to stay at home and watch Netflix or Prime or anything that's on TV. I like my movies, I like my TV shows, and I don't mind having a quiet drink at home. I was an old man way before I was even old. But anyway, they dragged me out of the house and I went to this pub with them. And me and my friends, I'm older than my friends, so they're in their younger 30s. You know, they're about 33, 34, and I'm 38. So not a huge age gap. And we go out to this pub and we're sitting down, we're having drinks, and my two friends who are together, they're a couple, they decided to go off and just have a chat on their own, sort of thing. They're at the bar talking, and I was instructed by one of my friends who had met up with friends at the pub. She was absolutely hammered, right? And this friend of mine told me, can you just watch over my friend here because she's very tipsy. You know, I had a very trustworthy job. I'm not one of them people that take advantage of. So I decided to be the sensible one and say, yeah, I'll watch over her and make sure that she doesn't get into any trouble, because she was absolutely hammered. She couldn't even function right. You know, she didn't know where she was. Anyway, so my friends get up and leave, and I'm sat with this young girl who's, I say young, she was in her late 20s. And that was the moment, because when you're in your late teens and 20s, I would say from your 21 to 29 or even 31, right? You see the rest of people in that age bracket as normal. You know, you can identify the old farts in the room, right? You can. But when you're young, you can identify the people at your age as looking youngish or looking like you, looking normal, right? But there comes a pinnacle point in your age where you start seeing people in their late teens and people in their 20s to even 30s now. They look incredibly young, like too young. You know, it's like, are you sure you should be out this time? And I recognized that when I was at this pub. I was just like, I feel like an old fart, and I was 38. But anyway, I'm watching over this girl who's absolutely hammered. And out of nowhere, these group of girls come over and sit right next to her. And they're whispering something to her, and I'm just like smiling, going, you're right, I'm fine. They pick her up and they drag her away from me, and I got no idea why or who they are. You know, these are strangers dragging up this woman, right? So I'm slowly watching them. I'm slowly watching my friend's friend getting dragged away, who's absolutely hammered by a group of women, and I'm following them, trying to keep my eye on them because I want to make sure that she's all right. Anyway, one of the girls in the group turns around and says, "Back off, old man." And I'm just like, what the? What? I felt embarrassed, right? That's the moment where I thought, you know what? I'm getting too old for this shit. And then my friend luckily came out and was like, you know what? He's with us. She's with us. Everything's all right. But I didn't know how to handle that. I didn't know how to take it because this was the first moment in my life where I thought, I am that old man now. I am what the young people used to see as old. And I'm just like, yeah, I need to go home and watch Netflix now. It's just like that was my moment where I thought, you know what, I'm getting too old for this shit. And I didn't enjoy it anyway, but it's really weird because it's no secret that I worked for the police. I wasn't a police officer, but I worked for the police in the community side of things. I wasn't anything like that. I couldn't be. You know, it's not in my nature to be the rough, tough guy or anything like that. If you say, you know, if you say, Robert, you're a man or a mouse, I tend to squeak. Okay, but I just, that was the pinnacle moment for me. That's when I realized, you know what, I am an old man. And there was another incident, because it was that time that I started to realize that I was deciding to realize that I was suddenly realizing that as I got older, people around me started to get younger, you know, in workforce, you know, the new recruits and everything coming in. And I was just like, are you sure you should be working? You know, they were that young. But I can remember an incident, and I can remember another moment, and it wasn't too long ago. I think I was bang on 40, I think, at this moment. But we engage with security all the time, right? Well, we used to. Well, I used to. Obviously, I don't work for them anymore. But we used to engage with security quite a lot. And even the security was getting younger and younger. Anyway, we patrol around the security around this one shop, and we're having a chit chat and everything. And this is the time when the retro stuff from the 1980s is starting to become popular again. You know, like the gold frame glasses and the mullets were coming back. Why are mullets coming back? You know, and mustaches. I mean, they weren't popular then. Why are they popular now? They just look weird. Don't tell me you have a mullet. I apologize. I'm only jealous because I can't grow. Well, I could grow a mullet. I guess I could grow a mullet. All right, Button Boo. It's my cat. Well, one of the cats. There you go, Button. Yeah, she's not interested. Anyway, so where was I? So, yeah, so the fashion, it's weird. I think Stranger Things has something to do with that. I don't know if you're watching Stranger Things, but, you know, it's a good show, actually. You know, a group of kids who are like 11 in the 80s, who are now 45 in the end of the 80s. They look it now. You know, that TV show needs to end. But anyway, I'm patrolling this store with her, and she wants to look at the watches because, you know, she's interested on getting a gold Casio watch, you know, a digital watch. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll come with you and everything. So we're walking up, and she's looking at the gold Casio watches. And I just pick it up and go, oh, I used to have this as a kid. She just immediately lost interest. She just put it down, slammed it down actually, and she just walked off. And I was just like, oh my God, that was another, I'm too old for this shit. You know, it's just like, that was another realization that wasn't a too old for this shit moment, actually. That was a realization that I'm kind of like a embarrassing dad, granddad person, you know? I was just like, yep, I've reached that stage now. Back in our day, we had to tell the time for the sundials, that sort of thing. But in all fairness, right? That's my decade. That's my time period that she was looking at getting that watch. You know, if you're going to look at something that's retro, you know, from the 1980s, you're going to have people in my age go, that's cool, or was cool, or maybe I was never cool, really. Who remembers the calculator watch? Who used the calculator watch? Honestly, I don't know a single person who used the calculator watch, but it was cool. Everybody had one. Everybody had to buy a calculator watch, but nobody knew how to make a calculator. But nobody knew how to work a calculator watch. And then when we tried to play, and then when we tried to use the calculator on a calculator watch, we watched the digital watch, so we couldn't tell the time anymore. The 80s was a frustrating time. I was there. I was there 3,000 years ago, Gandalf, when we had VHSs and we used to pause our favorite TV shows. And you'd see them on screen going, whoa, whoa, whoa. But, you know, that was the moment where I thought, yeah, I'm in my lane now. I'm clearly in my lane, right? And I enjoy my lane. I quite enjoy my lane. But, you know, I enjoy my lane. I think my lane is good. You know, like I said in my previous videos, I enjoy my 40s. I enjoy being in my 40s. I enjoy being this age to a degree. I don't enjoy the slight aches that I'm getting in the morning. I mean, I need to really work on my losing weight because these are the times where you have to really focus on your health, you know, because it does get harder when you get older. And I say that from experience because my dad was in his 40s when he started to gain a lot of weight. He was morbidly obese, and the doctors always said that he was quite healthy as a overweight person. You know, he could still manage okay. Obviously, they guided him to lose weight, but they weren't really too encouraging. But it wasn't until he started to become, I mean, number one, number one, in his 50s, late 50s, he started to become diabetic. And he didn't control his weight then. He just kept putting it off. But in his late 50s to, I would say, mid 60s, his health started to deteriorate quite rapidly, to a point where both me and my mom had to look after him and help him walk and help him move, dress him, clothe him. It was tough. It was really tough on my mom. And I think that's why I got a little bit more sympathy towards my mom, because she was a tough cookie, but, you know, she's a sweet old lady. Where did this conversation come from? But yeah, it's just, it's just a part of life, and I think it's good to embrace that part of life. But I just wanted to jump on and tell you that story, and tell you that pinnacle moment of the realization of getting older. Now, I know I'm not old-ish, you know. I know I'm no spring chicken either, but I'm not ancient yet either, you know. But I think in your 30s, I think in your 40s, I've realized I've always been like a late bloomer. So in my 40s, I've realized that these are the years that it's either flight or fight. These days, I had to think of flight and fight. I'm getting a bit too drunk. But I think these are the pinnacle years that you have to think about your future. Not so much think about your future, but actually plan for your future. I got no idea what I'm talking about. How many have I had? But I've always been a bit of a late bloomer, and I think now that I've approached my 40s, I mean, I'm halfway through now. But I think your 40s is the pinnacle moment where it's either you're going to do something about it or you're not. If you're not, then you might as well stop complaining about it. And it's scary, it's challenging and everything, and I'm not going to encourage anybody to quit their job. I was quite fortunate because I didn't have those tie downs. I didn't have those sort of commitments that most people my age have, like a house, a mortgage, wife, kids, or just a partner relationship. But I decided to take this opportunity to do something about it, to do something that I like to do, you know, which is filmmaking and social media. And I can talk about social media another time. But I just find it fascinating. This isn't my first channel, by the way. I have a few channels. I started YouTubing about, well, it's got to be over 10 years ago now. I didn't make a lot of money from it. You know, I think I got something like 5,000 subscribers and 1.5 million views on one. But I'm not a millionaire. I'm not making money off it. I kind of gave that up as well. But I gave that up for the wrong reasons, because while I was on YouTube, I had to seek permission. This is the thing. I'm always seeking permission and validation sort of thing. But my work didn't like me posting videos online, and they weren't bad videos. I was making model kits from our favorite movies, you know, like Star Wars or Star Trek. And I was painting these model kits because I am a big science fiction nerd. And I was doing unboxings and stop motion animation. And I just loved editing. And my work didn't want me to do it. They outright called me into work, usually weekly. It felt like weekly. And they'd pull me aside and say, you got to stop YouTube. You know, we don't want you to go on YouTube because you might say something or do something that might make us look bad, or you might say something that will make you look bad, and then it'll make us look bad. And it kind of scared me a little bit, if I'm honest with you. And that kind of fear kicked in, and that's what caused me to give up on my dreams and ambitions, really. Yeah. But now I haven't got that burden. I can start again, and it's hard, you know. That first couple of steps is hard to make content on YouTube. And look, I'm not here to be famous or rich or whatever, you know. I'm just here to make content because, number one, I enjoy it, and number two, I enjoy it. But, you know, I get to engage with people online and talk to you guys online, and I met a few interesting people online and things like that. And it's the new networking. It's the new way to communicate. It's the new way to be socializing and everything like that. We might not like it. We might hate it, but it's the new form of connecting. And if I'm looking for work, which I am, you know, I might look at, I want to do something in digital marketing or social media management, but I can only do that really by making my own content, and it's making me feel uncomfortable and I get nervous doing it, but it's giving me that push. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that story for tonight's I just thought I'd share that story for tonight's entertainment. I just thought it was a good reflection. And I don't know if you can see behind me, I'm actually taking this time not only to figure out what I want to do, but I'm taking this time to read books. I love reading books. I like reading Shakespeare. I'm reading Sherlock Holmes at the moment, which is my ultimate favorite character, but I never had a chance to, I wouldn't say had a chance, but I never had the motivation to read it. And now I have, and that's been a really good start. I'm starting to read a lot more. And I just enjoy reading, and I just enjoy learning. I love learning now. I mean, when I was a kid, I grew up dyslexic, and I found learning very hard because I wasn't being taught the right way. And I think it's still challenging now, and I don't think there is a right way really, because dyslexia is a huge dyslexia is a vast sea of different opinion. Dyslexia is dyslexia is a vast sea of disadvantages. Like, the typical ones are reading and writing, but dyslexia is in your speech. You can't pronounce certain words or say certain things, and it's memory involvement as well. So you can't remember as well as other people. So it's a vast set of challenges that you face as dyslexic. And I always struggled at school when I went to school. That's another topic. But I just always put everything like that aside, and I was always told that I was too dumb to learn anything. So I'm taking this time again to learn or to relearn what I should have learned in the first place. But to me, that's successful. To me, that is moving forward because I am taking control. Now, one thing that I will share with you. So I have got this on my wall every morning I wake up. So these are my books right here. I love Tolkien, everything Tolkien, right? I'm reading the deluxe versions at the moment. So I love Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, obviously. Silmarillion is quite interesting. I really dig that. I'm into ancient philosophy, and I'm into like how religion starts. And the Silmarillion is very much like a Bible of Middle Earth. I enjoy reading it. So we've got Stoic philosophy, which I've shared with you many times. That is my lightsaber because at night you might need it. I've got my indie hat right there. Got my camera gear right there. So I've got my camera lenses. I love photography and that, and I'll talk about that next time. But yeah, I just enjoy reading at the moment and learning new things. But I bought this online and I hung it up on my wall. It's I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. And I wake up every morning to that. And even though I don't post online, I do record videos every day. I've got like 1 terabyte of content I made. And that's since my last video that I uploaded months ago now. So even though I'm slacking a little bit, I'm still making content and getting things ready. It's just getting ready and just publishing the damn thing. I'm still thinking about perfection and having that good quality of things. These are very raw and very authentic. But I wanted to try this style to see if I can do something with it. But I just should share with you, an evening with you guys, and I just thought I'd share an evening with you guys and let you know my current thoughts. Anyway, I'd like to know your but I would like to know your I'm getting too old for this shit moment. I think it would be a fun read in the comment section, or maybe make a video about it. You can always do that. But you know, here's to the Gen Xers and older, and younger too, if you've managed to watch this video. Go to bed.